Okay, so with rate of change and then the slope. So the first part we're going to focus on today is going to be a rate of change. I'm going to go into kind of what we did yesterday for their lesson, and I'm just going to draw it on the actual whiteboard here. You know what? Never mind. I'm going to put it on here. That way, if you do watch it later on, you can see it. So when I had these things and they looked like this, I'm going to pretend this stuff in the middle is written out. So this is my x value. Here's my y value. So I started with that -1, 0, 1, 2. And then for this side, I had 2, 4, 6, and then 8. I'll pretend like there's some stuff in here. I did math. Can you guys see the pattern that's happening in this side? Mm-hmm. What's it doing every time?
Going up by 2.
It's going up by 2. Does it change at all? If I were to put 3 on there for my next value, what would it do? So what number would it be? 10. If I put 4 on there, what would the next one be? Do you have to worry about this equation in the middle, or can you see exactly what it's doing every time? Yeah, you can see what it's doing every time. This stuff that's happening over here is referred to as our rate of change. So you guys have already seen this. We're just giving it a fancy name right now. Okay? So with this rate of change is going to be how much it changes for a linear relationship. Because if I had graph paper, could I make this into a line? Without a doubt. I can make it into a perfectly straight line. It's going to be great. Okay? That is what the rate of change actually is. Okay? It's how much things are going to be going up or going down. So the rate of change describes how one quantity changes in relation to another quantity. When I drew that picture, every time they were going up by 1 for the x value, and they were going up 2 by the y value. All right, so I'm going to look at this very first one. I've got this rate of change here. It says days, and then it has money. So what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to look on kind of 2 portions to see what they're doing. In between the day, what's the change between this day? I'm going to point to it. This day and this day. What's the difference?
It's going up by 1 day.
It's going up by 1 day. So this one's going up by 1. And then between this one and this one, up by 1 day. Up by this one and this one, up by 1 day. Okay? So that top one, it's changing by 1 every single time. Now I'm going to look at the money side of it. I'm starting with 100, and then the next day I have $80. What's happening there?
It's going down by 20.
Losing $20. What about here to here?
Minus 20.
Minus 20. Here to here?
Minus 20.
Are these numbers the exact same? Okay? If I follow this pattern, again, I don't have an equation to work with. I don't have anything else to look at except for just what's there. What would you expect I would have for money on day 5?
$20.
How'd you figure out $20? I agree.
So you by 20.
Yeah, because every single time I'm subtracting by 20. Okay, so for this one, my rate of change, I'll say rate of change is minus $20 per day. That's my rate of change. You can see that every single day I'm losing $20. Does that rate of change make sense of what I'm doing? Anybody need more time to write this? Oh, I'm still writing. You good? Okay. All right, now I'm going to look at this next one. Hopefully you can kind of help me out here. In between this one and this one, how much is that changing?
Goes up by 5.
Goes up by 5. In between this one and this one? Up by 5. This one to this one? Okay, so are all my top numbers the exact same?
Yes.
So far, yes. I like exactly what I see. On to the bottom part. Okay, if I start here at 12 and I go to 24, what are those doing?
It's going up by 12.
Okay, that's increasing by 12, meaning it's going to cost me $12 more if I get another 5 items for that one. What about here to here?
Up by 12.
Up by 12. What about this one?
12.
Are all my numbers the same?
Yes. Yeah.
They are. So on the top, for every 5 items, that's kind of how they're writing this chart. Down here, they're saying it's going to go up $12 in between each one of those groups. So how could I say this? How could I explain my rate of change if I don't want to draw the chart every single time?
It costs $12 more for every 5 items that you get.
Perfect. My rate of change, it costs $12. I'll say it for every 5 items. That's my rate of change. Every time I get 5 items, it's going to cost me $12 more. Okay, if I had 25 items, how much would it cost me?
60.
If I had 0 items, what would it cost me? 0. So again, I do want to point this out. Every time we were going this way, it was going up by 12. But if I go backwards, like if I started here and I went to here, that's going down by 12. So if I'm going in this direction, it can work both ways, right? It's not just something that I would only have to go in one direction. The rates of change, you can adjust for both directions on that one. Questions on that part? Okay. You know what? I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna make a chart for you, and I want you guys to do this one. So we'll say this one. We're gonna have a dog chart here. Okay. So I've got 1 dog, 2 dogs, 3 dogs. I want you guys to tell me, what is my rate of change when I compare dogs to legs? I'm gonna give people a second to work it, to think of it, but then yes, I'm just gonna come straight to you now. All right. Hannah, what'd you get for my rate of change for that one? Perfect. I'm gonna say for every 1 dog, okay? Makes sense, right? So this one, that's kind of how we had our dogs and our legs. Up here, we had our items to cost. And then up here, we had how much money per day. Okay. I want to kind of explain, I'm going to go before I drop out of the next part. We can try to figure things out for every one item. So when I wrote these things down, this days is kind of like our X value. This money is like our Y value. So if I wanted to actually write this down and show you how much it's going to cost per day, you remember whenever I say the word per day, what number had to be on the bottom? It's like 2 chapters ago. Yes. Say it with confidence. There needs to be 1 on the bottom. You got it. So again, you guys were right. It changed by $20 per day. So $20 per day. 1's already on the bottom. That's my rate of change. My rate of change is going to be negative 20 over 1. And that's how I can write it. So negative 20 over 1. I'm going to look at this one over here. Again, my items is like my X value. My cost is going to be like my Y value. So I'm going to write that down, how it was written. So my cost was $12 for every 5 items. However, I don't really like that. I want to try to figure out how much it costs per item. Per means what number has to be on the bottom? 1. So if it's $12 for 5 items, how can I figure out what it is for 1 item?
Divide by 5.
Yeah, divide both the top and the bottom by 5. Okay, so if I divide both the top and the bottom by 5, I get, so I'll make it a little bit bigger. I get 2.40, so $2.40 for every 1 item. Okay, now I don't have to buy in multiples of 5. I can buy a single item and know exactly how much I'm going to have to owe them. It would be terrible if you went to the concession stand and you could only buy things in groups of 5. I mean, it'd probably taste delicious, but it's going to cost you a whole bunch of money. Because what happens if you only want that container of Snickers or that package of Snickers? There's no reason to get 4 other things. Okay?
Unless it's 4 other Snickers.
Unless it's 4 other Snickers. Okay, so that's kind of how I got my item price. This last one, how would I write for every 1 dog, there's 4 legs? I want you to write down that rate of change. Again, this should be my X value. This one should be my Y value. I'm going to walk by. I just want to see that you write this one down. Write down the rate of change for my dogs and their legs. Should be written as a fraction. Perfect. Way around. Yep. There's 4 legs for every dog. Yep.
What do you make a dog?
So write it as a fraction. So this one should be the other way around. So this should be our X value up here. That's like our Y value on the bottom. Perfect.
No, that's right. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
Feeling good? Okay. From what I saw and judging by the head nods I had, my rate of change for this one is that it's going to be 4 over 1 or 4 legs per dog. Okay? There is a reason I did it in this order. For everything we're going to do, that Y value needs to be on top, that X value is going to be on the bottom. This will be kind of the last part I'm going to show you before I'm going to give you the assignment for today. When you put this together, I'll zoom in even more. When you use those rates of change that we just did, say 2 of the 3 were positive rates of change, meaning that if we were to graph it, it's going to go up. It's going to look like this shape right here. Okay, up, up, and away. Because the more you do, again, we had like 1 dog there had 4 legs. We had 2 dogs, they'd have 8 legs. Again, it's going to keep on getting more and more and more as we go up. Okay? If it's a negative number, and we did have that one negative number, that was the one where we lost $20 every single day. That's going to be one where it points down. Okay? So it's going to be a negative rate of change. It means it's going to decrease. It's going to get smaller. All right, the very last one, and I didn't have an example for this one, but if it doesn't change at all, if it never changes, just kind of stays exactly where it's at, like meaning like on day 1, you had $20, on day 2, you had $20, on day 3, you had $20. You're not spending any money, you're not gaining any money. That's going to be what this one looks like. It's going to be a no change, be just a straight line.
Kind of like my savings account.
Just like your savings account.
So you don't have money into your savings?
He doesn't have money, he doesn't take any away. Okay, what I want you to do today, your assignment, and then tomorrow we will do slope and just slope. Your assignment is going to be page, where am I at? 400, there it is. Page 400, 7 through 10, all. You got 4 of them. Okay.